Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another cartoon review. This time on Johnny Bravo. Not only Johnny Bravo, Johnny Bravo meets Scooby Doo, or the official title for this episode is called Bravo Dooby Doo. um, oh yes, I love Johnny Bravo, and I think I've talked about a lot of Scooby Doo on my channel, on my TikTok page. So I love Scooby Doo. I used to watch Johnny Bravo back when it came out, or I'm not sure if the show was still going on by the time I saw it, but I saw reruns, and um, it's a really funny show. It still holds up, but looking back, especially watching it as a kid, I think it would have been more appropriate for Adult Swim. But the same thing kind of went for a regular show, which is another Cartoon Network show. I love the pieces. Regular show, I think originally was intended to be like Adult Swim, but it ended up, being on Cartoon Network. Um, this episode aired, I believe, July 2nd, 1997. Wow, I didn't know it was that old. This was, I think, it was written by Michael Ryan, and directed by. It was written by John McLarte. Don't know how to say his last name. Johnny Bravo was created by Van Partible. He has a very interesting background. I recommend Google him if you're interested in his career and how he eventually got to make Johnny Bravo. For those who maybe never seen Johnny Bravo, maybe you've heard of it. I don't know how to really explain it. Basically, Johnny, who kind of is like a parody of Elvis in some degree. He he loves women, and I don't blame him for that. I love women too. But his approach is, I don't know, the way he approaches women is very kind of sexist, and like not a way you want to talk to a lady, I guess. And that always kind of gets him into all types of crazy shenanigans and all types of hijinks. And I guess there's a little bit more to the story than just that. But like I said, it's kind of hard for me to kind of give a proper synopsis of what Johnny Bravo's about. You just read a synopsis on Google or just watch the show. But it's a very funny, very comedic show. Johnny Bravo was voiced by Jeff Bennett. At this point, Jeff is a veteran voice actor. He's been a whole bunch of stuff. Too many things to name. The Scooby Gang. I'm not sure. I know Fred was voiced by Frank Welker, who has voiced Fred since the original show, 1969, I think. Um, I'm not sure about the rest of the voice cast. Shaggy may have been voiced by Casey Kasem. Daphne and Velma may have been voiced by their original voice actresses, or maybe, two of the voice actresses who ended up voicing them later on in different adaptations. I'm not sure. Um, this is a really funny episode. I didn't realize this was season one of Johnny Bravo. That blows my mind. So I haven't seen this in years. But I still remember it very well. I'm going to play this when I'm going to play this later on today. Um, right. So what is this special about? So we see Johnny he was driving through a creepy forest. I'm not sure if it's raining. I can't remember if it's raining, but his car breaks down, and he was on his way to see his elderly aunt, uh, Josephine Bravo, Josephine Bravo, funny name. Um, so he is able to flag down Mystery Inc., who are also driving down a creepy wooded road. Okay, okay. Um, I guess he explains to them what happens, and he needs a ride. I think they're kind of hesitant at first, but he tells them, well, my aunt is missing, or there's some type of mystery, like my aunt, was missing, and I need help trying to find out what happened to her. So like, oh well, there's a mystery involved. Sure, we'll help you. Um, so Velma kind of starts to take a liking to Johnny. And the fun fact, in the Cartoon Network universe, where there was these off topic, there were these shorts that they used to play back in the early 2000s called CN World or something, CN City, Cartoon Network City, all the the popular shows during the time. Billy and Mandy, Mega XLR, another show I had to talk about. Scooby Doo, Teen Titans, Justice League to a degree, Ben 10, like all those popular shows that were playing around that time. We saw all these characters interact with each other. Um, so So I think around that time when they were doing those shorts was when Velma and Johnny were dating each other. And I also remember Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory having a huge crush on Velma. So again, little fun little details like that, really added to these characters and seeing all these different characters interact with each other. As a kid, that was just so mesmerizing to see. Even though for me, I wasn't really big on crossover episodes as a kid, but now that I'm older, I appreciate them a lot more. And I'm like, oh wow, crossovers were really, really cool back in the day. But CN City, you could watch those on YouTube, though. That was a lot of fun. I think they stopped making them because it got too expensive. Bummer. Um, so yeah, Johnny and Velma dated at one point. That's pretty cool. So they finally make it to his aunt's house, which of course looks like a creepy old house. And there's some type of, and they eventually find out that there's a ghost gardener on the loose. And we get, the classic chase music and the classic chase sequences. Like we get some hijinks with Shaggy and Johnny who are running away from the ghost gardener. Um, there's kind of some adult jokes in this, and there were adult jokes in the Johnny Bravo show, like when they say, and then when Fred um, suggests that they should split up, Daphne's like, oh, well, me and Velma will check the so and so, and Shaggy, Shaggy, Scooby, and Johnny can check the so and can check upstairs or whatever. And Fred was kind of like stopped her, like, Daphne, like, how about you and I, check upstairs? And he does this thing with his eyes, which is really, really funny. Um, you know, Hinting like, let's go upstairs and fool around, basically. Um, which of course that went over my head as a kid. But again, little detail, little funny jokes and gags like that are just hilarious. You appreciate as a young adult rewatching some of these properties. Um, so like I said, it just so once they get to the house, it just kind of plays like a traditional episode of the original series. Um, they eventually the ghost is caught. Uh, oh man, I kind of don't want to spoil this because well, it's 20 plus years old, but it is a funny plot twist. But okay, okay, so I'll try to maybe give you some clues. The ghost gardener, we got no, I don't think we got any explanation for who he was, where he came from. He's the only other person at the house outside of Johnny and Mystery Inc. And we don't find the aunt, or we don't see the aunt till after the ghost is captured. So maybe you can figure out who the ghost was in the end. Um, so then it ends with the aunt. I guess kind of a well. I guess it's not really a spoiler. The aunt hitched a ride with Mystery Inc. for some reason, and we find out why she had disappeared. She found Johnny to be very annoying, and she wasn't looking forward to him coming to visit. Um, and I guess Mr. Inc. found him annoying as well. So they, tie him to a tree, which is just bonkers. They tie him to a tree and leave him stranded and go on about their way with the aunt in the car. And she starts flirting with Shaggy, which is very weird but funny. And then another Hanna-Barbera character shows up, a character named Speed Buggy, who was another Hanna-Barbera show about mystery solvers in their car, who was alive, who was sentient. He had face, he could talk. So Speed Buggy is driving in this creepy wooded area by himself with no passengers in the car, and he sees Johnny tied to a tree and offers to help him. And that's how the episode ends. Okay. Crazy ending. Um, yeah, Bravo Doobie Doo. A lot of fun. Still holds up. Still very charming. I like the adult references. Um, Yeah, just give this a watch. You should be able to find it on Max. Hey, it's your friendly neighborhood geek here doing another awesome classic horror movie from 1980. Yes, this is Alligator. This came out January 1st, 1980. This was directed Louis Tegau. I'm not sure how to say his last name. This did really well. This did really good financially. I was gonna save this for Halloween, but I just didn't get around to it. And I moved on to other topics. But this is one of the first, yeah, B horror. I don't even know if I can call this a B movie, but horror movies I saw from the '80s era when I was really getting the '80s horror. Excuse me. So yes, this is a giant killer monster animal movie. Basically, a pet alligator was flushed down the toilet. 12 years later, the alligator survived and it grew to massive size and had been living in the sewers. I don't remember what city it takes place in. The title says it lives 50 feet beneath the city. It's 36 feet long. It weighs 2,000 pounds and is about to break out. Okay, cool title, I guess. Um, yeah, so people start kind of disappearing, or rather, people who work down in the sewers, or people maybe homeless people. A detective um, catches wind of the situation, and he starts a police detective, and he starts investigating and looking into it. Um, he's accompanied by another lady who's some type of ologist, some type of animal biologist. I think she ends up becoming his love interest, and they work together to figure out what's going on. There's I can't remember if the police hire a animal hunter to keyword the alligator once they find out who the culprit is for all these disappearances. Doesn't end well for the hunter. Um, we get a lot of scenes where people get ate up by the alligator, and that's a lot of fun. And alligator, I'm not sure, for some scenes they maybe used a real one, but for of course the special effects sequences they just had a puppet animatronic. The alligator effects look really good. I haven't seen this in a while, so I'm actually, I think I'm gonna rewatch this in like a day or two. But it's really fun. Again, the cast did a good job. I just like, the look of the movie. I feel like I was taken back in time to 1980. Um, like I said, the scenes where he's K-wording people are a lot of fun. A lot of chaos. Unfortunately, I don't remember how they K-worded the alligator, which is probably a good thing because I'll be rewatching it. I'll be surprised on how they defeat the alligator in the end. But I guess that's a very fun movie. Like I said, if you like monster killer animal movies like Jaws, Razorback, Orca, uh, crap ton of other movies. I know some grizzly bear, killer grizzly bear movies. Um, I highly recommend Alligator. Uh, there was a sequel called Alligator 2: The Mutation. But from what I've heard, that one's not that good. I did watch it, but I kind of had it playing in the background, so I literally don't remember a whole lot of that movie. I only remember like a couple of scenes, and I really don't remember anything, super duper memorable from that watching experience. So I may, try to rewatch Alligator 2: The Mutation as well. And if I like it, I might, talk about that one. I might talk about Alligator 2. But yeah, like I said, this one's just kind of short and sweet. I think it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. If you like, I always say if you like '80s horror, if you like I said, if you like killer animal movies, definitely give it a watch. Um, yeah, I alligators. Yeah, off topic. Alligators are probably one of my favorite animals. Um, Alligators, crocodiles. Uh, always was fond of those animals. Always really cool. Um, yeah. So again, if you're interested, give Alligator a watch. That's on Tubi and it's on YouTube for free. So yeah, check it out. Peace, again. Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another belated horror, animated horror movie double feature review. Yes, I am going to be talking about Dead Space Downfall and Dead Space Aftermath. Yeah, Dead Space, for those who don't know, is a very popular and I would say beloved horror franchise that is up there with the Silent Hill franchise, which I love, and the Resident Evil franchise as far as like gaming horror, franchises go. Um, I believe the original game, because there was a remake, the first game in total, if you don't count the spin-offs, there's like three mainline games. There was a game for the Wii, which is considered a spin-off. There was a mobile game, which actually still holds up fairly well. And there was maybe a couple other like smaller projects. Um, but yeah, so there was a Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. One got a remake some months back, which was really well received, and a lot of fans were happy about that because, not to be all over the place, three, the third one, the story was okay, but the writing was poor, and the characters weren't all that great, and our main character, um, Isaac Clarke, who was a space engineer. He wasn't really his character wasn't really handled well in the third entry, but save that for another day. Um, like I said, so these were two animated movies that were made to expand upon the universe, the Dead Space universe. So these two movies don't like so like I said, our main character in the games is Isaac Clarke. Isaac isn't the main character in these movies. He does kind of make a cameo in Aftermath at the very end, which I guess is maybe kind of a spoiler. Like you see him, but you don't see him. When you watch it, you'll probably know what I mean. Um, so yeah, I thought that was really cool. These movies expanded, the universe of Dead Space. That was dope. Added more lore and all that stuff. So something on my screen. So okay, so Downfall takes place before the events, like a couple of hours before the events of Dead Space One. Um, the ship that the first game and this prequel movie takes place is called the Ishimura. This really giant ship. I'm not sure. I think it was a mining ship, but it had people were living on the ship, and they had like emergency escape pods and all types of stuff on the ship. Um, so the mining team finds this. I forgot what it's called. It's not a statue, but this big red thing you see right there. I forgot. I forgot. It's like a totem. It's kind of like a totem. I forgot. A marker. That's what they call it. A marker. Um, the marker apparently was created by aliens, and it was created to keep something hidden away from ever returning, to keep something from returning or preventing an unspeakable evil from reawakening. Basically, of course, the miners remove it, not knowing what its true purpose was. It causes people to hallucinate. It can make you go crazy, and it can turn you into a necromorph, which are basically the zombie alien creatures in the Dead Space franchise that you fight in the game. And of course, there's all different types of necromorphs in the game. And when you kind of see a different one. Uh, I saw something. You kind of see different ones in both Aftermath and Downfall. So they remove the marker. Weird stuff starts to happen. The original team who I guess were sent down on the planet to get it. They hadn't heard back from them, so they send like a small team to go investigate. One of the team members who was on the small team, his wife was part of the team who went on the planet originally. Of course, when they get to the facility, blood and all types of bad stuff everywhere. Of course, they're like, "What the f happened here?" Um, and unfortunately, the soldier finds his wife, like dead basically in a catatonic state, and he takes her back on the ship. Um, and he's flying back to the Ishimura, and there's these creatures, these little flying creatures that if they infect a dead body, they can turn the dead body into a necromorph. So of course, this creature gets on the little ship that the soldier is piloting and affects his wife. She gets turned to one. K words him. The ship still, they when they figure out what's going on, the captain of the Ishimura is like, close all the doors, shut everything down, make sure that ship doesn't get, make sure that ship doesn't get back, on the Ishimura. Of course, it just by the skin, by the edge, however you want to say, the edge of their teeth, that freaking ship gets back on the Ishimura, and of course the necromorph and the little flying creature or whatever um, get loose, and they start to spread. Of course, the Ishimura has a morgue. Of course, they do. And of course, all those bodies get turned to necromorphs, and like I said, it just spreads. It spreads like an infection. There is a security team, so we have our main female character, and her team, who their duty is to protect all the people on the ship. Uh, Basically, they're fighting a winning battle. I mean, like I said, they're going up against something in which they weren't really prepared for. They figure out, that they have a weakness. They figure out how to K-word them, but still, there's so many of them. It's so overwhelming, and it can just not dogpile you, but they can just overwhelm you and get the better of you and K-word you. So yeah, it doesn't end well for any of the characters in this movie, but like I said, it's a prequel, so we see what happened on the Ishimura. Isaac's girlfriend, I forgot her name. A lot of girlfriends in this series. She was on the Ishimura, but we don't see her. Of course, she plays more of a role in the video games, of course. So that's one of the reasons why Isaac, you know, was sent to the Ishimura in the first game to figure out what happened and of course find his girlfriend. Um, so yeah, it's kind of Downfall in a nutshell. Downfall is really good. It's actually kind of my favorite between the two. I apologize, I didn't mention the studio or the directors. Downfall had three directors, and Aftermath only had one. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember everybody's name. I didn't bother to see, what studio animated um, these features. I apologize. So, Dead Space Aftermath. This takes place after Dead Space One, but before the events of Dead Space Two. Um, so there again another ship, another group of miners. They were sent to a planet. They ended up finding a marker. Of course, they didn't know what its true properties were. The government, I guess Earth's government, I forgot who, but Earth's government was aware of the markers, and I guess we're trying to keep a secret. They didn't want, of course, they didn't want the planet, the world to know about the necromorphs. So the survivors of that team, one of them being voiced by Christopher Judge, who is the current voice of Kratos in God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, which is awesome. He also played Magneto in X-Men Evolution. Really cool, really awesome voice actor. All these movies had, a good voice cast, solid, well-known voice actors and other people who, periodically do voice work. Um, so one by one, each member of this team of survivors are being interviewed, and we see their versions of the story and the situation. It's everybody's story is done in different animation. Like they go from 3D animation to 2D animation to different animation styles, which is similar to Dante's Inferno, the animated movie, which was also owned by EA. Like I say, EA owns these properties, owns Dead Space. Um, Kind of a spoiler. It doesn't end well for any of our main characters in this movie. Um, I mean, both these movies are just kind of a downer, kind of depressing. Both their endings are very, depressing. But I guess that kind of fits the tone of the series. Um, if you are interested, check the games out. I recommend these movies. Something different you never seen before. Go give them a watch. Peace. Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another YouTube spotlight video. Yes, I am talking about Heroic Redemption. This was created by JMB Productions. And you see the last couple of uploads was like 14 years ago. Excuse me. So, wow, it's hard to believe how old this series is. Unfortunately, this series is I'm not sure if it's been discontinued. There was never, a finale. Never got a follow up. All these years have passed. I think he uploaded a couple years ago, and it wasn't an upload that was, like another part to the series. So that's really sad because the story for this stop motion series, was really, engaging and entertaining, and it kept you on the edge of your seat. It was, it's fan fiction basically. Um, in the name, Heroic Redemption. It sounds cool. So like I said, I discovered him randomly. I would put him in the same category as like IB13, the animation team that did Invitable Alliance, Stop Motion Dickory. They did their Infinity Gauntlet and Avengers versus Thanos, stop motion. Um, so like I said, for those who've seen those videos of mine, I've said this is like a bygone era of people who were just creating these fan projects or these stop motion series, and just had a lot of creativity and uniqueness during a period where it wasn't common for us to really see stuff like this. People making stop motion back in the day was kind of a big deal because everybody, you had your Lego, you had your Marvel, you had your Bionicle, you had your claymation, you had your stick fuzz, you had your Transformers, um, and some of those people are still around today. I mean, stop motion community is really big on YouTube, but got to pay respect to the people who who were like the first people to start out doing it back in the day. Um, so again, what is this about? Well, basically, the Justice League. So DC and Marvel exist in the same universe in this series. So the Justice League and the Avengers were basically one team. There was a big battle against the supervillains led by Doctor Doom and like Lex Luthor and other miscellaneous villains. The heroes lost somehow. I mean, how do you have Superman on your team and y'all still end up losing? So, and the Hulk. You have Hulk and Superman on your team and you still end up losing. So, heroes basically have to go into hiding and the villains basically take over the world. Yeah, this is this is a pretty dark, premise to a stop motion series. So basically, we follow Peter Parker, portrayed by Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. Awesome. Peter Parker, Batman, Wolverine. I think Daredevil shows up. And I'm not sure if any other. I can't remember. It's been a long while since I've seen it. I don't remember if any other superheroes show up outside of like flashbacks. And we have Doctor Doom and his basically legion of supervillains. And basically, Spider-Man is trying to encourage Batman and Wolverine and maybe Daredevil. Like, we need to rally up what remaining heroes are left and try to turn the tide and try to fight back and make the world the way it used to be when it wasn't being ruled by supervillains. So we kind of get kind of different stories taking place throughout um, the story. There's this part where some assassins are sent to Peter's home. They ambush him. Of course, Mary Jane is there. It almost looks like it's a game over for Peter and MJ, and Batman comes to the rescue and saves them. That was really, really cool to see, and it was really cool sequence. Um, there's a bar fight with him and Wolverine teaming up, Spider-Man and Wolverine. There's a scene where Daredevil I think he K-words somebody. Like Daredevil is, like not the same person he was. And he's been all of this, how the world is has altered him. It altered his morality. And I think, Peter tries to talk him out of killing a villain or a thug or something. I guess kind of a spoiler. I think he ends up doing it. Um, and so, like I said, just a lot of cool, stories. Which reminds me, there's another YouTuber I might talk about him. He kind of had a similar Marvel Universe stop motion series, which was also really cool, and that ended. Um, that also ended without a conclusion. So yeah, I mean that's kind of all really to say. This was just cool and creative, and it's for the most part, animation still holds up. JMB Productions had his own. He had a set. The model buildings, and I like that. It looked like it was in a toy city. I guess that's what he was going for. But like I said, it's just a shame. The story was really, really good, really, really engaging, and it just sucks that. I mean, like I said, what the last video was like 14 years ago. We don't know, if we'll ever get a conclusion. Um, so it's just it's a bummer, huge, huge bummer. Always hate to see projects like these that have a lot of potential, um, and they don't get conclusion. Um, I've seen it happen many, many times. I've done it myself to a degree with some projects. You see, like the first upload or part two has 2.3K views, 1.7K views. It just so many people have seen this, and like I said, it just hasn't. There is no follow up. Um, Another example, there's a Transformer YouTuber. He did a stop motion a couple years, like 5, 6 years ago. It blew up. Everybody loved it. Everybody, complimented it, said how awesome it was. Um, we got like a teaser trailer for part two. The video ended on a cliffhanger, and we got a teaser trailer for part two. 5, 6 years later, no follow up, no update to my knowledge. I don't know if he ever came out and said, "Hey, I'm not gonna continue the such and such a video or anything," but he has continued to make other projects. So like I said, it's unfortunate. Like, why not just you have the time and the means to continue to make these animations. Why couldn't you just finish this previous project you did? But sometimes it happens. People lose interest, or things don't work out, or whatever. But going on a tangent. So to say all that, give Heroic Redemption a watch on YouTube. Very much worth your time if you like stop motion, or if you like these little fan projects. Highly recommend it. I'll definitely rewatch. Haven't seen it in a long time, so I'll definitely rewatch it myself. Yeah, like, comment, share. Peace, you guys. Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another uh movie, comedy spoof kung fu action movie review. Yes, I am talking about Kung Pao. Enter the Fist. Yeah, I discovered this randomly on YouTube some months ago. This was directed and written by Steve Odorek. Not sure how to say his last name, but that's him right there. Yeah, Steve plays our main character in this movie, who's kind of like a parody, I guess, of like Bruce Lee and maybe other, kung fu characters. Um, Basically, I'm not sure what his ethnicity is. I'm not sure if he's American, or where he's originally from. But majority of the other cast are all Asian actors, actresses, which is cool. Yeah, the cast did a good job with this movie. It is funny. It is a very funny movie. Like I said, it's kind of a spoof parody of kung fu movies. Like, you don't take it too seriously. It's very charming. but I don't know if it's like everybody's cup of tea. If you've seen anything like the scary movie parody spoof movies from like the early 2000s, some there it's similar to like that genre or disaster movie or epic movie. Even though disaster movie, epic movie are not good movies, but like I said, that kind of that spoof genre. Um, so what is this about? Also, I saw this on YouTube for free. I also want to say, apparently there have been talks of a sequel called Kong Pao 2, Tongue of Fury or some shit like that. I think the last mention of it may have been like 2015, so not sure if they finished the movie, not sure if there's an initial release date. Hopefully we'll get that eventually. Yeah, I'd like to see a part two to this movie. So we have Steve's character who, in the beginning, he was a baby with his family. His family was K-worded by a gang leader, and his minions don't know if they had any personal connection to the family or if it was like just a random act of violence. Um, and as a baby, we get this hilarious scene of him fighting the gang leader and his groupies as a baby, them getting their ass kicked by a baby, which is hilarious. So apparently, Steve's character is named the Chosen One. So he was born, with special powers and abilities. He can communicate with animals, and sometimes they can assist him in a fight. Um, so, like I said, I guess he's ends up being raised in the wild, and he grows up, somehow, I guess, self-taught to a degree, kung fu, and he seeks out a kung fu master to teach him properly, and also, I guess defeat or K-word the man who killed his family. Um, and hijinks ensues. Some of the master he seeks out has a martial arts school, and some of his students aren't too fond of Steve, um, and they try to I guess bully him, or try to what's the word, like not outstand, I forgot the word, but try to be like act like they're better than him in every way, which they're not. And it ends, their antics end in a hilarious fashion. He has a love interest who I think is the daughter of the sensei, the master. Um, like I said, we get a lot of other miscellaneous characters and side characters, and like I said, it's fun. It's fun for what it is. It's a very charming, funny movie. The way, kind of like the way it's kind of filmed like those old kung fu movies. So if you ever saw any of the old kung fu movies, or maybe even some like really old Bruce Lee movies, where the characters were dubbed over, by English actors, and maybe the dub wasn't the best or the quality wasn't the best. That's kind of what they were kind of going for this. So I think a lot of the Asian cast are dubbed over, which isn't a bad thing. Like I said, that's what they were going for. Um, we get a hilarious fight scene between him and a cow. The cow is like 3D animated, and it's basically a parody of The Matrix. Like there's like a lot of slow motion sequences, and it was super stupid, but it was also really really funny. It added to the charm of this movie. Um, so like I said, that's kind of it for Kung Pao. Like I said, we get some bloopers at the end. It's a funny, charming, parody kung fu movie. If you're into parody spoof movies, I think you'd like it. It's like an hour and some minutes. Um, like I said, Steve and the cast did good, and like I said, the story was, fine. It's just, just casual, funny movie. Like I said, I recommend it. Um, like, comment, and share. Peace, you guys. Hey, friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another movie review. This time on a romance comedy movie from 1998. Woo. I mean, I like the name. It stands out. I'll say that. I like the name. It stands out, but it's so weird to say. Um, this stars Jada Pinkett Smith and Tommy Davidson. Two at this point veteran black actor and actress. I will say Tommy Davidson was Mr. Proud for anybody who grew up with the Proud family. He's been a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with Jada Pickett Smith at this point, for a lot of reasons, which I won't get into. But I do think I am a fan of hers. I do think she is and was a talented actress, especially during this time. She did really good in this movie. This was directed by Daisy Von Schneier Mayer. That's a long name. I'm sorry, that's a long name. But Daisy, she did good. I'm curious what other movies she's directed. And this had, a really good supporting cast. I think they spent 13 million to make this movie. I think they made back their budget. This had LL Cool J, Dave Chappelle, Billy D. Williams, the mom, I forgot her name, but the mom from the Proud Family. She's also in this playing Jada's best friend. And a handful of other, well-known black actors, um, who make up the supporting cast, which is really, really cool. So basically, Jada Pickett Smith's character, Jada's character, Wu. I don't know if that's her nickname. I'm assuming that's her nickname. I don't know if we ever learned her real name. Um, she's very extrovert. She's kind of a party girl. She, is kind of cool with everybody. Everybody knows who she is. That can be seen as a good thing or bad thing. But she's just really, she's a people person. She's a social butterfly, basically. And she's trying to find Mr. Right. Tommy's character, I think his name is Tim. He's kind of the opposite. He's a court, not a court. I think he works in a law office or he works in the courthouse, but he's like some type of clerk. Um, the three guys on the end are his guy friends. Um, and like I say, he's kind of an introvert. Like he's the opposite of Wu. Keeps to himself. Not much of a ladies' man. Kind of socially awkward. He's just kind of straightforward by the book. Just easygoing, low key kind of guy. Um, so Wu goes to her sidekick, and the sidekick is like, "Oh, you'll meet Mr. Right tonight," or something like that. So it tells her something like that, something cryptic. Um, Dave Chappelle, who was a friend of Tim, uh, he basically sets Tim on a date with Wu. Like, this is my cut. Like, Wu is Dave Chappelle's girlfriend's cousin, um, who, like I said, who her and Wu are best friends or whatever. Or no, or maybe they're not cousins. Maybe they're just best friends. Yeah, just best friends. And Dave Chappelle's like, hey, my girlfriend, uh, her friend is single, and like, could you get her off my hand? Like, she's basically like Wu's kind of being a third wheel. He's like, can you basically like take her out on a date, just get her out of the house, basically? Excuse me, so we could have alone time. And Tim is like, well, I'm not doing anything else. Um, so LL Cool J lives across the hall from Tim, and Tim is like asking him for advice, like, you got any music I could play or any suggestions? And we kind of get a funny scene with their interaction. Like I said, LL Cool J is just kind of a supporting character in this movie. The same goes for Billy D. Williams. So of course, him and Wu, she comes to his house or his apartment. Things kind of go okay. They don't really hit it off well at first, but the night, it's a wild night. They go out to eat. Some shenanigans happen. They go to a club. Some shenanigans happen. They go to a party. A lot of shenanigans happen. They get arrested, but Wu is able to get them out of it. Tim's car gets stolen by his ex-girlfriend. Wu helps him steal it back, or they work together to steal it back, and it's really funny. Um, and like I said, a lot of hijinks happens. A lot of funny hijinks happens, especially with the three guy friends who are like, she's too hot for you. Like, she's out of your league. But then none of them had a chance with her. She's like, which was funny. Um, and it ends cute. It ends in a cute fashion. I kind of wish maybe we got like a little bit more of a follow up, but it's like after the crazy night they had, they kind of fall for starts, kind of having genuine feelings towards each other and try to start falling for each other. Of course, you can't fall in love with someone in one day, but movie logic. But like I said, it's a lot of fun. I just discovered this randomly on YouTube. Um, I say if you were to have a date night and you and your partner are into these type of movies, it's worth watching. Um, if you like romance comedy movies, it's worth watching. Or maybe if you're with a group of people who are into this genre and y'all just maybe just have it playing in the background or something while y'all do other activities, it's worth watching. But like I said, for 98, again, it's still a solid movie. I really enjoyed it. I thought the cast did great. I did think Tommy and Jada had, chemistry. Um, like I could kind of see them maybe being like a real couple, sort of, kind of. Um, but like I said, it was a lot of fun. It was just a really cute movie. I've seen a handful of Jada's older movies. I saw Set It Off a little while ago. Might talk about that one. That one was really good with Queen Latifah and crap. I forgot Vivica. Yeah, Vivica Fox. Ooh, saw her in Menace to Society. Another solid, black movie. I've been watching a lot of black movies lately. I'm trying to think, was it another movie of hers I saw? Maybe that was it. Menace to Society, where she has supporting role, and Set It Off. Um, but yeah, I'm a fan of hers. I'm a fan of her older movies. So yeah, like I said, if you're interested, give it a watch. It's free on YouTube. It's like an hour, some minutes. I think it's worth your time. Like, comment if you've seen this movie or if you're interested in seeing this movie. If you have anything to say, like, comment, share. Peace, you guys. Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here doing another movie review, this time on a video game movie. Oh boy. Double Dragon, the movie. Yes, this came out in 94. This was directed by James Euchrich, not sure how to say his last name. Fun fact about this movie, before when it was in post-production, one of the first people to write the script was Paul Dini. Paul Dini is one of the two creators of Batman the Animated Series from the 90s. So that is really cool. Unfortunately, they didn't go with Paul Dini's script, which may be a good thing or a bad thing because his script could have been better than what they originally went with. I've known about this movie for a couple years. I like video game movies. If you've seen mine, I can't remember at this point how many video game movie reviews I've done. Only one I can remember on the top of my head is Dead or Alive with Jamie Presley and a whole bunch of other well-known actors and actresses. And that was a lot of fun. That was a really fun movie. Like I felt like I was watching a video game play out. And for those who don't know, Dead or Alive is a fighting game series, so it was a movie centered around a tournament and fighting, kind of like Mortal Kombat a little bit. And like I said, that was a lot of fun. That was a very fun movie, in my opinion. Just a dumb popcorn movie. But yeah, video game movies don't really get a good reputation. For whatever reason, it's hard for directors and filmmakers to adapt these games, especially ones that have like a simplistic plot. I mean, the Sonic movies, some people love and hate those. I personally like those. Even if I do feel like the first one isn't, could have been better. I'm not going to say I dislike it. It could have been better than what we got. Um, the Mario movie did really well. Oh, I forgot. I talked about the Super Mario Brothers movie from the '90s with Bob Hoskins and I forgot the Hispanic or Italian actor. Oh, I forgot his name. Oh, it's gonna bother me. I forgot his name. But that movie, which I really enjoyed. Um, I've seen, of course, the original Mortal Kombat. A lot of people consider that one of the better movies. I grew up with the Resident Evil movies. So, like I said, I'm a fan of video game movies. I like the Silent Hill movies. Even though a lot of people don't care for Silent Hill 2. Oh, I forgot I talked about the Silent Hill movies. Like, that was like 2 years ago now. So, if you want to see those, you're gonna have to scroll. I might do some re-reviews on some projects because back when I first started, quality wasn't as good as it is now. Um, let's get all that out of the way. But top three billing actors you see at the top: Robert Patrick, who played the T-1000 in Terminator 2. He plays the bad guy in this movie. Mark DeCassos, he plays one of the brothers. It's Scott Wolf. I think Mark is the one in red. Scott is the one in blue. They play Billy and Jimmy Lee. So we got the Mario brothers and we got the Lee brothers. Okay, that's cool. They live in a post-apocalyptic Chicago, I think. That's another thing I like. I didn't realize that in the beginning. Yeah, I like that this takes place like a post-apocalyptic world. So if anyone's seen my Fist of the North Star video, which is an anime, um, that setting, if you're familiar with Mad Max, that's the kind of setting that Double Dragon takes place in. I thought they did really good with the cinematography. And I do want to say there are some other well-known, decent well-known actors in this movie. I thought the cast did good. I don't know how the cast feels, now about their work on this movie. I do know the director and some of the writers were weren't really happy with the final product at the time. I think it's got like a PG-13 rating. There's a whole video on it from a YouTuber named Matt McMuscles, a well-known YouTuber in the video game community. So if you want kind of more in-depth video about the whole background of this movie getting made, definitely check out his channel, Matt McMuscles, on YouTube. So yeah, so like I said, I like the cinematography, I like the cast, I like the setting. So basically, Jimmy and Billy are two, I guess, yeah, martial artists. I think they live with like their cousin. So them and their cousin, who's Asian, cool. The three of them live together. They're just the only family they have are each other. There's gangs. We find out that there's this dragon medallion. If you have two of them, you, I guess, become super powerful. You become like Superman or some shit. So the villain, Robert Patrick's character, he wants both medallions, and their cousin has one of the medallions. So of course, him and his minions are able to track Jimmy and Billy and their cousin down. Of course, we get a fight. The fights in this movie is cool. It's kind of PG-13. But like I said, I thought the fight scenes were fine. Like if I was a kid and I saw this, and I may or may not have been familiar with the franchise, I think I still would have liked it. Real quick, the game, at least in the first game, I can't remember. It may be Jimmy or Billy. One of the two of them has a girlfriend. I think her name is Marion, and Marion is in this movie played by Alyssa. Crap, I forgot her last name, but she was very pretty. Yeah, so one of them has a girlfriend named Marion in the game. She gets kidnapped by some gang leader or something, and the two of them basically, if it's two player, you and your friend or sibling work together to have to beat all the enemies and finally reach the final boss to save the girlfriend. And at the end, if it's two players, you have to fight each other for the girlfriend's affection or whatever, which was really cool. And it's a pretty interesting plot twist for an arcade game in the 80s. If you did single player, then once you beat the game, it just ends with you reuniting with the girlfriend or whatever. So that was really cool for them to have done that in the original game. And like I said, the series originated in the 80s. Then got, like I said, a movie in 94, 93, whatever. It was a cartoon show where Scott McNeil, veteran Canadian voice actor, who's also played Wolverine, he's been in Transformers, a whole bunch of other stuff. He played one of the brothers in the animated series. I've never seen the animated series because I just didn't really like the way it looked, so I don't know how well that holds up. Um, but yeah, back to the movie. So something bad happens to the cousin. I won't say what happened. Um, Jimmy and Billy. So the villain, Robert Patrick's character, gains the second uh, necklace. When you put the necklaces together, the dragon, excuse me, necklace. So their friend Marion, who she's part of like a alliance or a freedom fighter type of organization who are working to overthrow the gangs and kind of help restore peace. Help the police kind of restore balance to the city. Um, they work with her and her people, and eventually, we kind of get this big brawl, and we kind of get a final battle with Billy and Jimmy against the evil Robert Patrick's character, and we get a happy ending. Um, Again, kind of straightforward, really. I mean, it's entertaining. I like the '90s vibe. Again, I like how it looks. I like what they were, the post-apocalyptic world. I like what they were going for. Like I said, the story for the game was very straightforward. Rescue your girlfriend from this evil gang leader and his minions. I mean, how could you mess that up? That's a very straightforward story. Um, so yeah, I thought they did good with what they were given. The material that the actors and cast were given. Yeah, I mean, it's fine for what it is. It's just you just throw it on. It really is a movie you could just throw it in the background while you do other stuff. But again, I liked it. I just I have a fondness for these type of movies. It's on YouTube for free. It's like 96 minutes. So if you're interested, I recommend it. Like I said, there are so many video game movies. Like I said, check out my review on Silent Hill movies. Check out my review on Dead or Alive. Check out my review for. I'm trying to think, did I do any other ones? Uh, not that comes to mind. I may have. I have to look. I have to check. But yeah, go give Double Dragon the movie a watch.